In 2007, Belgian theme park Walibi Belgium introduced Vertigo, a unique hybrid of a roller coaster and a cable car. Unfortunately, this ambitious project has since become known as one of the biggest failures in roller coaster history. But why exactly did this ride fail? Let's start at the beginning and find out. From 2001 to 2004, Walibi Belgium was known as Six Flags Belgium. In 2004, Six Flags decided to focus on the American market and sold Walibi Belgium to a company named Palamon Capital Partners. By 2005, the park dropped the Six Flags name and all references to Looney Tunes and DC Comics characters were removed. That year, the park's new owners decided it was time for a new investment. They wanted something big, something unique, and something that would really draw in the crowds. Their search for an innovative attraction led them to a joint project between two different companies. French amusement developer 3DBA and Austrian-Swiss manufacturer Doppelmayr were working hard on a brand new amusement ride known as a mountain glider. Doppelmayr is a well-known manufacturer of aerial cable cars and ski lifts, which are both commonly used to transport passengers up mountainous terrain. It was this manufacturing experience that led to the creation of the mountain glider. This amusement ride would be a high-altitude suspended coaster that would feature trains similar to what you would see on a ski lift. It would use a flexible single-rail track design that would be held up by large metal towers and cables, much like a suspension bridge. It would offer both the incredible views of a cable car and the gravity-powered speed of a roller coaster. Palamon was impressed and decided to strike a deal with 3DBA and Doppelmayr to install the prototype attraction at Walibi Belgium. Indeed, it sounded like an amazing idea on paper, but things would only go downhill for this attraction. Towards the end of the 2005 season, Walibi Belgium would begin teasing the attraction during their Halloween event. They did this by taking the lift hill of their standing but not operating Vekoma coaster Tornado and dressing it up as a ski slope. At the end of the season, Tornado would be torn down for good, with park officials using the vacant space for the new attraction. In April of 2006, the ride was finally announced to the public, with an opening date scheduled for later that year. It was set to open as one of the tallest roller coasters in Europe and would be the tallest suspended roller coaster of all time. As the months went on, the public continued to anticipate the exciting new attraction, but a while into the 2006 season, it was clear that the ride would not open on time. Another thing worth noting is that the park would end up switching owners again in the spring of 2006. Palamon sold Walibi Belgium to its current owners, CDA Parks. They would do this before the opening of the new ride they picked out, and the new owners would certainly end up inheriting a mess. While the coaster was fully constructed in 2006, test results showed several technical problems with the ride. These issues would end up delaying the ride to 2007, and while it did eventually open to the public that year, the problems didn't stop there. On June 14, 2007, the coaster officially opened, and park guests were treated to a truly unique ride experience. Starting out with an elevator lift, guests were taken to a top height of 180 feet to begin the ride. After being released from the lift, the trains would make their way down the flexible steel track, which was designed to bend to accommodate the weight of the guests and the trains. The course consisted of downward straight track sections and the occasional turn around the ride's iconic steel towers. At every turn, the trains were designed to swing sideways with the lateral force, which officially classifies this as a suspended coaster as opposed to an inverted one. While the layout itself wasn't very long or inventive, the impressive height and open feeling of the ride's trains was enough to make this a memorable experience for passengers. Plus, the incredible views the ride gave were simply undeniable. Despite the positive reviews from riders though, not all was well and dandy. Unfortunately, not many riders got to experience Vertigo, as it was open sporadically throughout the 2007 season. As is usual with prototype models, it was plagued with mechanical issues that would cause it to break down on a regular basis. Perhaps the most glaring flaw with this coaster was the sensors. In order to provide guests with a safe ride experience, the coaster used a new state-of-the-art wireless proximity sensor system that would detect where the ride vehicles were on the track. If the sensors detected the vehicles weren't where they're supposed to be, the ride would come to a stop, and maintenance workers would have to travel on a special ride vehicle to the halted train of passengers. The problem with these Wi-Fi sensors is that they would shut down the ride even when nothing was wrong with it. Whether it was radio interference or simply insects landing on the sensors, the whole ride would shut down nonetheless. This issue, among others, happened constantly throughout 2007 2007, and by the end of the season, the park ordered that the ride be completely reworked by Doppelmayr for a proposed grand opening in 2008. They hoped to put this soft opening behind them, and opened the coaster next year to the fanfare it deserved. But it didn't exactly end well for them. On May 8, 2008, Walibi Belgium held a grand opening for Vertigo. Champagne was poured, the media was on the scene, and even famous Belgian actor Jean-Claude Van Damme was in attendance. Van Damme would go as far as to ride the attraction with his wife and daughter, describing it as crazy fun and comparing the ride experience to flying like Peter Pan. So at this point, the park was positive that the ride was fully functional and that they could finally have a full-time attraction for guests to enjoy. So how long did the ride end up running for after its grand opening? 11 days. Yes, it was a mere 11 days after its grand opening that the ride suffered even more mechanical problems and the gondola showed premature signs of wear and tear. Park officials were reasonably frustrated and ordered that more work and testing be done on the ride. If the research didn't meet the following 3 criteria, the ride would be removed for good. First of all, the park wanted the ride's capacity to be unaffected to ensure guest satisfaction. Second, the ride would need to be regularly reliable, with downtime reduced to an absolute minimum. Finally, they wanted the ride's maintenance costs to remain unaffected and not be absurdly expensive. Tragically, after only a few months, it was clear that these criteria wouldn't be met, and on October 10th, Walibi Belgium announced that the ride would never reopen. Demolition of the coaster would begin in December, and by 2009, it was all gone. Some guests were happy it was removed due to many seeing the large steel structures as eyesores that ruined the park's atmosphere. On the contrary though, many guests lamented the coaster's short life and would miss the incredible views it gave. While Doppelmayr is still a successful and widely respected manufacturer of cable cars, they haven't manufactured a roller coaster since Vertigo. It's clear that their venture into the roller coaster market was a short-lived experiment that they would rather put behind them. As for Walibi Belgium, the land Vertigo sat on remains unused to this day, and it wouldn't be until 2016 that the park added another coaster. This would be a mock ride's power splash named Pulsar. Just this year, another coaster was introduced to the park, a Gerstlauer bobsled named Tiki Waka. Over the next few years, Walibi Belgium plans on adding even more coasters in, an unnamed Zero Force 190 in 2019, and a massive mega coaster in 2021. So things are really looking up for the park despite the massive failure of Vertigo. It just goes to show that even the biggest mistakes can't keep a good park down. Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, or you can check out my website at themeparkcrazy.com. This is Theme Park Crazy, and I'll see you all next time.